Rod, Simba, and the Regulators. Are we cool with this being the new official song?
Sure. I'm definitely cool with this. It's jamming right here.
And it's chill.
It is. I'm all for it. I like our other beat, too, though. And I like the one Rod made with our other beat.
I think we should mix it up.
Can we rotate?
Yeah,
Right,
we'll
that's
rotate.
what I mean. Right.
But this is, he actually just DM'd me, and he's like, yeah, Sims called me C-I-M-B-I-I. He's like, it's Simba. And I was like, you got it.
Sorry there,
Simba.
Rod.
Episode 127. Fendrick is in a meeting.
Oh.
There's a chance he can come back, but I think you and I are going to have a talk with him later.
I'm sick
Enough
of
of this
Fendrick.
shit.
I'm sick of it. You
Yeah.
want to be a part of the
I
podcast?
agree.
Yes or no? Podcast, too. I want to film it on Wednesday. Okay?
No, one more week of Tuesdays. Hope you guys enjoyed the last episode with Gronk. Coming at the end of this episode will be Jadeveon Clowney.
Bam.
And there is a really funny moment. If you know Sims, what we always talk about, oh man, you're so great. Like, what is the phrase you always say? Just say it.
Well, about Jadeveon Clowney?
Yeah.
With Jadeveon Clowney, I mean, usually when there's players that I've hyped up a lot, I usually go, man, do you know how much I blow you?
He says that. And
I swallow sometimes.
And we kept recording the interview, and it got him talking to the PR person,
Right.
and the reaction's awesome. So that's at the end of the podcast.
Yep.
Hope you guys enjoy it. Jadeveon, good. I thought it was a pretty good interview. He
I
talked
really
a lot
did.
about his teammates. Better than Gronk.
Yes.
Gronk is just, he didn't give me shit.
He's Gronk.
And it's funny because you could tell he definitely didn't know who you were.
I'm sure he didn't. I think Gronk, I've seen Gronk meet my father for the 50th time, and the lights not go on for a few minutes, and then go, oh yeah, Phil, what's up, man?
Yeah,
like
he doesn't get it.
So he's hilarious that way. But
I tried to get him to talk about Odell and just say, should the media ease up on him? And he refused to talk about anybody else.
he's
that's not
scared
on his
too.
team.
Bill's got them all scared.
And but he's also such a good soldier.
He is, no doubt
That
about it.
he's not doing that.
I was always amazed by Gronk just being in the tight end meeting rooms, though. Man, when it came to football stuff,
He got that.
I mean, he could answer a question in a heartbeat. He really was phenomenal that way.
I was having a debate with my grandmom this week, and I want to chime in before we get to the player numbers. Grandma Barbara. We both have grandmas named Barbara.
We do.
She's
is
the coolest
alive.
person
Mine's
ever.
dead.
She's unbelievable. They were both awesome. We were having a debate that she called somebody a creep.
Right.
And I said, I would rather be called a curse word than a creep. I think it's more offensive to be called a creep. Like, if you called me an asshole,
Right.
I'd be like, whatever.
Right.
But if you were like, yo, Lefkoe, you're a creep, I'd be like, that really. Or if you called me a loser,
Right.
a creep or a loser, I think is more offensive than a curse word.
I think I agree with you. I mean, I'd rather you call me anything. I mean, fuckface, idiot, asshole, whatever it is.
Those are good ones.
You're right. But no, creep means that you are truly like a slimy bastard.
You make me feel
I
a
can't
bad
trust you around my kids, my wife, like any of that stuff. That's creep is like.
Yeah.
It was like, O.J. Simpson walking down a dark alley with a cane. I don't know.
I don't think that's
creepy.
scary. Yeah, I mean, and you know what? In terms of like making people uncomfortable, you and your flirty self.
My flirty self. They don't even know. These people don't even know about you and flirty.
If you're truly in the weeds, you'll know what flirty is. That's back in the day when I met Sims's wife, and I told her that he was flirty.
You
in the
know,
office.
Chris, your husband, he's kind of flirty.
And it took about a year and a half for you to bat that one down.
Holy crap.
All right, so we have Clowney coming up. 27s. Let me do the other sports, and then I'll get to NFL. I was bored last night at 1:30 in the morning.
That's okay.
NBA.
Yeah.
Currently, Rudy Gobert, Jamal Murray, and Zaza Pachulia, your favorite guy.
Good old Jaja, yep. The cheapest player in the NBA.
MLB, Carlton Fisk was a 27.
Oh, that's a good one.
Vlad Guerrero, Matt Kemp, Scott Rowland, old Placido Polanco, Juan Marichal, and then Giancarlo Stanton and Mike Trout is 27.
Damn, I forgot both of them.
I don't even know. I don't know what Bryce Harper's number is. Do you?
34.
Is it?
Yes.
He's the old Charles Barkley.
Yeah, he's definitely 34. I forgot about Trout.
I don't
totally.
know. Yeah, Trout's 27.
Giancarlo is on fire right now. I don't know how much you've been watching.
What's crazy is there were rumors that the Phillies were going to trade for him, and I was like, I don't know. He's getting paid too much money. Holy crap.
He's like hitting a home run every night.
He is one of those physical specimen guys. NHL, Ron Hextall and Scott Niedermayer. I love those guys.
Niedermeyer.
Good old devil. Who in the NFL comes to mind? All time and then currently.
This is pressure here.
27 is good because now we're into safety world.
Yep.
And we're still in running back world and the occasional corner, but it's
like Ray Rice was a 27.
Ray Rice was
right?
a 27.
Okay. I know the old Cowboys safety J.J. Wilcox was 27
yes,
there.
He is still.
Is he still 27?
Yep, he is or was.
Okay, but hold on. I need a few other 20. 27 is not a strong suit.
All right, let me give you some hints.
Yeah.
We'll start off with running backs.
Right.
He was the 4th pick in the draft.
Oh, he's 27. Leonard
Fournette.
Yes.
He could be the guy that becomes the future of the Houston Texans backfield.
The Dante Foreman. Yes.
Fat boy in Seattle.
Eddie Lacy.
This is great. So me and my friends in California played this game. He reminds me of a guy, but I'm just going to give you random descriptions. Powerhouse running back in the 90s.
Oh, damn it. Eddie George.
Bang.
Yes. LeGarrette Blunt was 27. He's no longer – he's 35 with your Eagles.
One of the most effective holdouts in football.
One of the most effective.
Got him a contract.
Gosh, man.
Penn State.
Gosh.
Larry Johnson.
Oh, LJ.
He got himself a fat contract by holding out.
Yeah.
And then 3 Giants running backs.
Okay, so Brandon Jacobs.
Yep.
Jacobs is 27. Wait. Hold on. My dad's no, he wasn't. I was going to say Rodney Hampton for a second.
Rodney Hampton
thank
was.
you. Yeah, he was.
And then the other one was?
I don't know.
Ron Dane.
Oh, shit.
Come on.
Damn.
All right, defensive backs. The reason that the Bills were comfortable trading Ronald Darby.
Oh, Tre'Davious White is 27 now.
The guy you're really excited about on the Packers.
Josh Jones.
Yep.
Who just got hurt and carted off the field.
I'm not going to be able to explain some of these guys. Tyvon Branch, Darian Thompson, Drake Kirkpatrick, Glover Quinn, 2 Eagles, Quentin Michael back in the day, Malcolm Jenkins now.
Damn.
Reggie Nelson, Fred Smoot, I think one of my favorite football players of all time because of the party boats.
Smoot was the man. I had a lot of fun with Smoot.
What does that
off
mean?
the field. I mean, Smoot was boys with my man Dwight Smith, right?
Yeah.
And they had a little relationship together. But
when you went out with Smoot, what was his role in the group?
Well, Smoot is actually like off the charts football smart. Okay, like he's the kind of guy that's like literally nerdy enough that he's probably like sitting at home right now reading through like draft books and like
really?
He really gets into it. Loves the sport. No, Smoot's just the cool dude, ready to do whatever.
Yeah.
Kind of plays it low key, but if something that he doesn't agree with or anything like that, he ain't afraid to show his
good
opinion.
Stories about that?
I can't really say that I do, but I love being around Smoot.
Darrent Williams, Steve Atwater, Ken Houston.
Damn, I missed a lot of good ones.
It's tough. I look. Walt Harris, Rashawn Mathis, Terrell Buckley. Random one, Mario Edwards Sr.
Yeah, sure.
Mario Edwards Jr.'s dad.
Yeah.
And then 2 random ones. Tom Pridemore was a DB for Atlanta. He is the only NFL player to serve as state legislator during his playing career and get a DUI.
Wow, impressive
That's
resume.
freaking incredible, dude. The other one is Dwayne Gratz, who's most famous for getting arrested for trying to pay for something with bubble gum. And those are your 27s.
More than I thought.
Quick question. The current state of these holdouts, Donald Penn, Aaron Donald, Le'Veon Bell.
Right.
You think any of them go far?
I do think that they're going to find a way to sweeten the pot for Donald Penn, whether that's just like a little more guaranteed money, somewhere along that line.
Do you think he deserves it?
If he wants a little sweetener, sure. Yes, I do think he deserves it because I think there was a listen, is he a top-tier left tackle at this point in his age, at this point of his career? No, he's not.
Yeah.
But he's still very good. He's in the top half of football.
And they need him.
They do need him.
What about Aaron Donald, Le'Veon Bell? Because these are young studs.
Le'Veon Bell has there's nothing he can do.
What is he trying to do?
All right, so my thing with Le'Veon Bell, and we're the Players Podcast, right? We always talk about that. And if I'm advising Le'Veon Bell, I am literally telling Le'Veon Bell that whatever amount of money you want to make this year, right? The franchise tag is 12 and change, right? So he needs to figure out what that number is and then just go report whatever that number is. So
say it out in the public.
So that's what I mean. If he goes, I want to make like
15.
if he wants to make $8 million this year, then show up week 6 or 7. He's got to show up by week 10 to have it to be a credited year.
Here is the divide. You are going to hurt your team in a team that if Martavis Bryant's back, they could make a deep run.
Yeah. I don't care.
Wow.
Le'Veon Bell's learned his lesson to know he's very valuable. He almost lost his career 2 years ago.
You're right.
It's a brutal position. He plays in the AFC North, which is also extremely physical with a lot of good middle linebackers.
It's officially his team.
It's his team, and I'm not sacrificing any part of my body if I'm Le'Veon Bell for the Pittsburgh Steelers, who don't want to show me any commitment either.
Is it he can come back in week 10 and still be a free agent?
He can, as long as he gets those he has to get 6 games under his belt. 6 games.
And you would tell him to do that?
If
you were his friend and he said, Sims, I don't know what to do, you'd say, I wouldn't play until week 10.
Or show up week 8, whatever you want. But I would advise him. I'd be like Le'Veon.
What
If you don't even feel 100%, fine. They don't have to play him, but he's
he
there.
just has to report.
He gets paid.
Man.
I would put in minimal effort if I'm Le'Veon Bell. I'm not even joking you. Like C.J. Mosley, it's 3rd and 12. I'd be like, get Fitzgerald or get somebody else in there. I'm not going to do that. Listen, they don't want to show commitment to him. Why should he show commitment to them? I know it's a messed up thing. He won't do this probably. But again, I think these are the things that need to be done if we want to change the culture of the NFL right now. Aaron Donald, they're going to get a deal done, I believe.
Okay.
He's different because he's a 5th-year option, right? He can negotiate. Le'Veon has nothing to negotiate. He just hasn't signed the franchise tag yet. So he just needs to wait it out.
I don't know if I've said this already, but the Devontae Freeman just got a new contract.
Yes.
And he's the highest paid running back in the NFL right now, making around $8 million a year.
Right.
The same amount of money that LaDainian Tomlinson got in 2004.
Wow.
That is 13 years ago.
So that shows you.
It's the only position where we're not seeing any inflation.
Right. It's amazing, and that's why I will continue with my theory of the NFL has to figure out ways to pay top-tier running backs because they don't get to see 2nd and 3rd contracts a lot, and they need to make it somewhere performance. Like Jordan Howard, 2nd leading rusher in football last year, he made $395,000, and he got into 55,000 car wrecks, and he made $395,000, and it's going to definitely take a year off of his career. The NFL should pay him like $5 million or whatever the average is for the top 5. That's what they should do. It's not even fair to these guys.
There is a free agent right now that's on the market that I know you think is special. Tramaine Brock. He was recently cleared on domestic violence charges. He apologized Friday for verbally yelling at his wife, says he never put his hands on her. He is currently visiting the Seahawks.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people know about Tramaine Brock. What is he like, Tramaine Brock?
He's a really talented player. I mean, he's one of those guys that's been one of the better players on the San Francisco roster the last few years, but they just haven't been good, so nobody knows about it. Certainly one of their better cover corners. He's got a real good build. He's not necessarily your typical Seattle long guy. He's got a little size. I want to look up his true size. I think he's like 6 foot, but he's a little more stocky. He's stocky. He's got some thickness to him, but he's a guy that can play nickel or outside.
They've been looking for a second cornerback outside Richard Sherman for, 3 years now?
Pretty much. I mean, they got their Jeremy Lane. They got Sheed.
And you think he's an impact player?
I do. I think he would be a phenomenal addition to that football team. I really would, yes.
So keep your eye out, see where he goes. He'll be impactful wherever it is, but he's been cleared, and according to the NFL is not, look, they take domestic violence. They've shown with Zeke 6 games they're not going to mess around.
Yeah,
but
he must be squeaky clean. Whoa!
Look who just walked in the studio.
Big offseason.
We literally got rid of the extra microphone. Josh, you're going to have to come over here and talk into mine because
we've given up on you.
Yeah, you're done.
What happened to my microphone?
I said I couldn't take it.
You couldn't take it?
No. I mean, me and Lefkoe were right here, and I was like, who knows if he's really going to come.
So you guys want me to sit in the middle?
I don't know, dude.
I don't know. We don't even know what you are anymore.
All right, I'll pull up a chair and just hang out.
Yeah. Okay.
Damn.
Let's lighten it up.
Now I feel bad.
Yeah, but you know what? That's what jokes are for.
Right.
And there's no better Twitter account to align with our podcast than the new Twitter account Bortles Facts, which gives only Blake Bortles facts.
Are you kidding me?
You did send this to me, Josh. Yeah, okay. Josh needs credit now all of a sudden. Fuck.
He's producing the show.
Shit. All right, first one, and I'm going to mix these. I'm going to intersperse these throughout the show. First Bortles fact.
Right.
Blake Bortles is undefeated on both Sunday and Monday Night Football.
For the year you're talking about this year?
No, for all time.
For all time?
I don't think he's played on either Sunday night or Monday Night Football.
I didn't hear Sunday night.
Bortles facts.
Yeah.
It's pretty fucking awesome. There's an Instagram that came out. We were watching it today of Blake Bortles threw the ball out of bounds over Allen Robinson's head, and you can hear him go, can you throw it in bound? Damn.
Yes, keep it in bounds. Damn. Bortles goes. I know I've said this to you. Like he goes into my theory, like my new little theory that I've had this conversation. This is something that comes up with like my dad sometimes. We call fake quarterbacks, right? He's a fake quarterback, Blake Bortles. Blake Bortles, what really started the conversation between me and my father this weekend was actually watching the Giants-Steelers game, and we were watching Josh Dobbs, and we got on the phone together, and he's like, "You watching Josh Dobbs?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, he can't throw. He can't throw at all. He can't throw at all." And we got on the conversation with like, "Yes, he's a fake quarterback," and we started going through it, and he's like, "Yeah, there's probably we thought about it." He's like, "This would be a good topic for your podcast."
What do you mean by fake quarterback?
Fake quarterbacks. When I say like Tim Tebow, Blake Bortles, Dobbs, there's other guys I can go down the list with where I mean they're basically not natural throwers of any ball.
Joe Webb.
Right, Joe Webb would be that, and he's even probably more naturally gifted than them. But guys that were big and great athletes growing up, and they just said, "Let's put him at quarterback. He's big and he's kind of smart.
Jeff
and he can run around."
Driscoll.
So, right, those kind of guys. Exactly right. I know. I need to go through the roster to see how many guys there actually is, but that is what I call a fake quarterback, a guy that really has no business making a living throwing a ball.
But because they were bigger than everyone, and in younger football, the guy that has the quarterback, he runs, he throws. Like, I'll never forget when I worked in Louisville, the game of the century was Trinity versus Male. In this one year, it was Michael Bush and Male versus, what's his name?
The quarterback.
Brian Brom.
Brom, right.
Michael Bush, the running back that weighed like
E.J.
260 pounds, Michael Bush was quarterback for Male.
Yeah.
Because he ran for like 2,000 yards.
Exactly
but
right.
But you get put at quarterback, and then some of these guys, I guess, they just keep going down that route.
They keep going, and then they have the measurables, so people justify it, right? They're like, "Oh, look at Blake Bortles. He's handsome, 6'5", and he's 235. Looks just like a franchise quarterback." Everything checks the box except the ability to throw the football, which is the most important thing.
But then guys like Cardell can throw it.
Cardell can definitely throw it. He's not a makeup quarterback, not at all. I know. I'm quickly looking through rosters right now.
Hit us up on Twitter when you guys are listening to this. Use the hashtag FakeQB.
FakeQB.
And send us who you're thinking it's going to be. Josh is laughing. Why are you laughing?
Well, ACL epidemic has taken off.
Oh, dude. I love whenever someone gets ACL injury, they're like, hashtag ACL.
Every time.
Yeah. Josh just texts me. He goes, "This ACL epidemic shit is hilarious." It is funny. Let's go to two great quotes of the week. I am so excited for this one. There was a headline. Again, it's unbelievable how many of these stories pick a headline, and I think they go with the wrong quote.
Yes.
The Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers can play until he's 40, and people ran with that. If you read the article, he had some other quotes that I want your comments on.
Please.
Quote, "Obviously, Aaron has carried the team for a long time. That's not going to change," he continues. "As good as he is, I would have thought they won more than one by now. But I don't know if he can do anything else than what he's done up to this point. And here comes the baller part. You don't know what that is until you get it. Like Reggie White, you go, oh, that's what we needed. It remains to be seen what that is, whether it's a draft pick, a free agent, letting someone go, or a coaching change.
There you go.
I don't know. Why was that not? Why Brett Favre saying maybe a coaching change is needed, but instead we went with Aaron Rodgers can play past 40.
You're exactly right.
That's fucking crazy that
great.
he pretty much said maybe they need to get rid of McCarthy.
He basically said everything we've ever complained about in like cryptic form there, right?
And
Aaron
no
Rodgers
one's
is
talking
doing
about it.
everything, and they need to help him, and I don't know who that
But
player is.
instead it got taken that Brett Favre was saying that Aaron Rodgers, oh, you got to keep playing past your 40. No, he was saying he's doing it all himself.
Yes.
Brett Favre is on Aaron Rodgers' side.
That was great to hear him say that because I was always interested. You know, Brett's an ultimate competitor, and you always wonder how he feels about the heir apparent who is, you know, stepping on the toes of his greatness, right? Because Aaron Rodgers is so great, it's almost you almost forget about Favre to a degree.
Yeah.
So it is interesting. I'd like to hear that.
I would love to watch an Aaron Rodgers game with Brett Favre.
Oh, gosh.
Because I'd love Brett to go, man, that's some sweet shit right
Well,
there.
and I would think Brett would not be too scared to take a shot at Mike McCarthy because Mike kind of ended his time in Green Bay with the whole I might retire. He hadn't had enough of it, and he pushed him out the door.
I just can't believe that part didn't get picked up.
Yeah, that's stupid. That really is.
But how many times do I go through these articles and I'm like, what is this? Like,
Yes.
no one reports this. All right, another one. Patriots fan Josh, not Josh Vendrick. Goodell came to the Patriots preseason game,
Right.
and he took a picture with 4 Patriots fans at the behest of NFL media, and an NFL PR person put it out. And then there was a huge backlash to this from Patriots fans.
I saw a little of
and
this.
Josh was getting called and berated by his friends, and he said, quote, "They wanted to use us as props. I felt like to say, hey, look at New England Patriots fans welcoming back Goodell." He continued, "I feel like the whole winning of the Super Bowl, Goodell having to hand the Super Bowl trophy over to us and handing over the MVP to Brady, I feel like we got our revenge." But Patriots fans are still angry. This whole Patriots fans versus Goodell, that first game of the year when he's there against the Chiefs on Thursday Night Football.
If they put him on the TV screen, they would have put him in a glass case.
But do you think Kraft is going to let him go up the back door?
Yes, I
Okay.
do.
All right.
I do.
I thought you were going to say it and make him walk through the front.
No. There's
It
an
would be like
elevator.
Game of Thrones. Shame.
There's an
Shame.
elevator that
Shame.
goes right to Mr. Kraft's suite, and he won't have to. He'll be able to avoid everybody as far as fans go.
It could be a really interesting atmosphere. It's part of the thing I'm most excited about for that Thursday night opener.
Agreed. I hope New England fans will maybe back off just a little bit. I mean, just in lieu of this Zeke Elliott thing, to realize, like, obviously he's not playing favorites. You got to remember, in a lot of these situations when he makes these decisions, he has the backings usually of the other owners.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that he's taken down Kraft and Jerry Jones as best players the last 2 years.
Let's lighten it up one more time with a beautiful little instance of Bortles facts. All right, next Bortles facts, because we're talking about the Patriots. This is compliments of the Twitter account at Bortles Facts. Blake Bortles and Tom Brady have combined for 5 Super Bowl titles, 4 Super Bowl MVPs, 12 Pro Bowls, and 2 NFL MVP awards.
You're such a jerk.
What a do! It's not me. It's Bortles facts. Patriots and Jags practiced together, and I know you heard some rumblings about how it went.
Yeah, the
Tell the truth.
The practices went a lot different than the game did. First of all, that's the one thing I was told, and I talked to New England people, but I also talked to somebody in Jacksonville, and yeah, the thing I was told throughout the week that Bortles was borderline pitiful. And that, New England pretty much whooped butt day to day in practice. And then, again, New England lets them have the Thursday night preseason
Yes.
showing. I mean, what did New England hold out? 40 of their starters, basically? I think
I'm going to get to that in a
something
second.
about it, right?
Yeah.
That many guys. So at the long story short,
Do you think Coughlin's talking to Belichick there?
I do think so, yes.
And do you think he's going to Belichick and going, I'm stuck with this quarterback?
I mean, I would think anybody that Tom has has confidence that he can keep a secret in general is probably complaining about that. It's ridiculousness. I don't even know what else to say about it
sad.
anymore. It is. It truly is.
Did you have something you wanted to say?
I was just gonna say that for the day of the Patriots' first game, we should get Roger Goodell's head photoshopped onto Cersei and have that be a clip.
It's
Social
not bad.
media,
It's
not
not-
bad. All right.
See, Fendrick's still working. He's still thinking of hot social media content. So speaking of the 40 players,
Right.
3 things that I read this week that are proof that the Patriots are better and smarter than everyone else.
Yes, they are.
We'll start off with that one. Sitting players during preseason games.
Right.
The Patriots are holding out nearly twice as many players out as the rest of the league. They held out 40 of their 90 guys in the first preseason game. The league average was 14.
Right.
The next highest was the Steelers with 24.
Right.
They're not playing their starters in games that don't matter. And if anything, you're getting a better look at the bottom 50 of your roster.
Exactly right, Adam.
Why are
Lefkoe.
they the only people that get it?
And because of the scrimmages, their starters and second teamers have already got plenty of useful snaps for the week. So they
Joint
don't need to go
practices.
out there with they don't need to put their first team guard out there now with a third team defensive tackle
Yes.
who's out of control in Jacksonville, who falls on his knee and ruins his year. So you're exactly right. The genius of Belichick, New England, they're on another level. What else is new? I mean, that's what they're going to do this week.
Yep.
I mean, here is Houston
They're
Texans
doing
this
4
week.
joint practices.
Yes.
They're getting so much time. It's just smart. Second reason the Patriots are better and smarter than everybody else.
Yep.
The Patriots have just bought 2 767s, 2 absolutely enormous planes, so that they can fly themselves everywhere. All of the seats are first class. They have rooms where the coaches can go over film and stuff. They have ways to help all the players
Recover?
recovery and all that stuff.
Right.
And do you know the reason, Sims, they bought a second plane? Why they bought 2?
No.
Just in case the first plane goes down. That's literally the only reason. Kraft said that he looked around at his organization and said, where are the places that we need to streamline? And he realized that he was allowing other people to control a huge aspect of the season, which is travel. And he said, I'm taking that away. I'm going to spend more, like a few $100 million, if not $1 billion or whatever, on 2 planes. And we're making our team comfortable.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's, again, the brilliance of their team. It's looking in deeper into the next level. How can we be better? Analyzing themselves, which is so typical New England.
Because you've talked about it. I can't imagine a football player in a regular class seat.
No. Can you picture
Alan Branch?
Fletcher Cox sitting in row 27, middle seat, like a normal human? Now, he might not have anybody on either side of him. Great. But it doesn't matter. It's still uncomfortable. There's nowhere for him to sit.
What do you think this does for free agency?
So it's going to be, all right, so this is the first thing I want to say. I always thought, and I want to look this up, and I don't know if you can contribute to this podcast at some point, Fendrick, is the Seattle Seahawks, do they not have, they have a special plane, the Seattle Seahawks. I know this. They have a plane at least with all first class seats.
Interesting.
At least that's always the way I understood it. Now, obviously, I guess they don't own it. But the thing I like about it is, yes, they're not being held accountable to like, oh, we have to leave the stadium and get on the buses to go to the airport at this time because United would like us to fly out now or whatever it may be.
You have complete control.
So now you leave whenever you want. You customize the plane. You can make it comfortable, like you said, for the coaches. I bet you they're going to have like recovery stations where you could sit in a chair, get an IV. They're probably going to have pre-made protein shakes. They're going to have legitimate healthy meals instead of like the rest of the NFL that's giving out hamburger food made by USAir.com.
Really?
Yeah, they give you the shit airplane food. You're like, oh, yum, great. I get to eat like half a hamburger and the scraps left off on the ground. You packed it all together. This is hilarious. It's great stuff.
And you texted me the other thing that you liked is there's no fear of the team upsetting a flight attendant.
Yeah, that can be an issue. You know,
I've never thought of that.
Well, it just, first of all, you heard the complaints last year about a few teams who left the planes like damaged or left after, right? There was complaints about like, you know, I don't know who it was, but one of the airlines, they were like, oh, we couldn't put our plane back into.
The Giants did it?
What? Yeah, I think it was the Giants. There was a few teams last year that they got in trouble, and they said that planes were trashed, and then they couldn't put them back into relocation the next day because they had to do repairs. So New England's not going to deal with any of that. They're going to hire the staff they want, and they're going to do everything the way they want and screw everybody else.
And the third reason the Patriots are smarter than better than everybody else, and your team should aspire to be like them, is Belichick was asked about teaching mechanics.
Yeah.
And he was talking, someone asked him about quarterback throwing and stuff like that. And when the best thing is when you ask Belichick the very simple question, talk about how you teach mechanics.
Yeah.
He went on for a long story. Story was he brought up a cornerback by the name of Everson Walls.
Sure.
Giants,
28.
He had what Belichick said was Everson had a very unorthodox way of covering in man-to-man coverage. His footwork and eye control was very unorthodox, and Belichick did not agree with it. But he realized that Everson was just really freaking good at it.
Right.
And he told Everson, listen, I'm not going to try and change your style, but you have to understand what your responsibilities are on defense, and you have to perform those responsibilities.
Right.
I will give you latitude in the technique and style as long as you get the job done.
There you go.
He adapted to Everson, but then he said he still had to coach the other players. He said, so then I told them, look, this player is really good. He does it different. I'm going to let him do this, but I'm not letting you do this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to really allow you to do it.
Right.
And he said those skills, there's a certain way that I think, this is Belichick, and I believe in that people should be coached. But if it screws up the player more than it helps them, that's not really good coaching. I think you're better off letting them do what's most comfortable to them.
Gosh.
Do you think a lot of coaches in the NFL would say stuff like that?
No.
Like, how rare is that?
Extremely rare. He's just an extremely deep thinker, and he's thought about every angle about how to deal with people, how to deal with the techniques of the game, how those techniques will fit in with the rest of the defensive scheme and all those. And yes, he has a tremendous ability to semi-play favorites. I don't even know if that's the correct word, but show a little, he'll loosen up the leash a little for guys that perform and go, listen, you're still doing the job that at the end of the day, I want you to do A, B, and C, and you're still getting it done even though you're not doing it exactly the way I would like you to do. He's not going to worry about it. He was very much like that with his coaches, too. That's where some of the older coaches would be like, Chris, you can leave the building. Like, you've gotten your work done. You're good. Like, he's not going to judge you if you're getting your work done. So he doesn't care if you walk out 30 minutes before, maybe like, Johnny Tryhard, who's just sitting up in his office with his legs up, but just waiting for Bill to leave, and he's scared to leave. So that to me, again, is just a brilliance. And we've talked about this before with like the drops with the quarterback, right? Like the West Coast offense is all about footwork.
Yep.
We have to tie the footwork with the pattern. And when the second hitch comes, you need to get to the second receiver. And he's like the opposite Bill Belichick of the West Coast offense. He's literally, we've talked about it, be 6.5 yards behind where the ball snaps, so the tackles know where you are, so they can push people by if you want.
And however you get there, you get there.
I don't care if you karaoke, you do a spin on the floor, but when the guy's open, you better throw it to him.
It's just an example of a great leader is not always one that rules with an iron fist.
No.
It's the one that knows where to go.
Yes.
Speaking of innovation, I found this interesting. I thought one of the saddest things that I watched the NFL last year was the Luke Kuechly night.
Yeah.
When he got a concussion and he was hysterically crying on the field, and we saw one of the faces of the game in hysterics thinking about life, his health, and his future playing in the league.
Yep.
Luke Kuechly is now wearing a thing called a Q ring on his neck. Have you heard about this?
I've heard about it, but I really don't know what it is.
It is a collar. It just kind of goes around his neck. It's open in the front, and it goes around the back of his neck. It uses light pressure on the jugular veins in the neck to lightly swell the brain so that it fits more snugly against the skull, thus reducing movement. It was invented by these two guys that were inspired by woodpeckers. I didn't know this. This is some deep shit.
They have like a natural shock absorber, right?
Woodpeckers hammer away at trees 18 to 22 times per second during mating seasons and don't suffer concussions. Why? Because their long tongue, I didn't know this, wraps around their head and pinches the jugular vein, swelling the brain slightly.
Wow.
So they've literally figured out how to replicate a woodpecker's anatomy so that Luke Kuechly hopefully doesn't get concussions.
Yeah.
It's just a wild way to think about, let's not fix the helmet, let's make your brain bigger so that it can't move.
Right. Well,
but
the
you
helmet,
think about it, man, swell my brain, that's a crazy phrase.
All of it's crazy. I mean, the helmet, I don't know. I think they're maxed out on the technology for right now. So
They're
he probably
trying
has
more
one
and
of
more.
the, he definitely has one of the newer aged helmets. The thing.
What did you think about everything I just said?
I mean, that's amazing. Again, I think you're going to start to see middle linebackers, and a lot of people do that because it's such a high impact collision position. I do worry about Luke Kuechly.
I'm really worried.
I really do worry about him long term. I mean, this is a guy that's 26 years old, and I'll just say this for my tidbits, and I might be wrong.
He's only 26.
I think he is, or he's 27.
I think he's
like
27.
Is he? Damn, it says 26 right here. I'm on his website. I mean, I'm on, but
Wikipedia.
But 6'3", 238. Okay. And he's probably got to work kind of hard to be 238.
You think he's like a 220 guy?
That's where I always worry about that. It's like I've seen Luke Kuechly in person. I don't know if he knew it was me or whatever, but he's not a real big guy. And those are the guys I always worry about.
Sean Lee.
Right, because they're playing a game that's
Dat win.
245, 250 for collisions, and here you are. You're really. It's like it's asking like a light heavyweight to go up and play the heavyweight division in boxing.
Yeah,
like,
if
you're not used to that kind of punch.
If you put him next to Dante Hightower,
Dante, look, you would be like, are you? You would be. People
you're in
would
the
be
same
shocked.
league. You play the same position.
People would be shocked.
Speaking of player innovations, when big players have innovations in the offseason, what do we call them? Whoa, big offseason. I only got one, and it's because it's the new theme. Players going vegan. Theo Riddick is now vegan. Add him to the list. Adrian Peterson, all the other guys we've talked about.
Woo, woo, woo. Malik Jackson.
Malik Jackson. His quote, I turned vegan over the summer. I've noticed a difference just with my energy level. I'm not a junk food type of eater. I'm like a smoothie guy. I do a lot of fruit, throw my kale and all my protein in there, and that's how I get everything. And where did he get this advice from, Sims? No, not a dietitian. Was it a nutritionist? Fuck no, it wasn't. Where did he get it from? My lady, Theo Riddick. It was from reading documents and watching documentaries such as Netflix What the Health.
Right. What the Health is good.
Quote, no, it's not.
What the Health? I feel like my wife told me about
it's
this.
fucking crazy.
What is it?
Quote, watching things like that is alarming. Okay, tell me if you agree with this.
Right.
It's crazy because you don't realize that things you eat on a daily basis, such as chicken and drinking milk, has no nutritional value.
Right.
Chicken has value.
Well, it has value. It's got protein. I don't know how. No, your average chicken, I've told you this, is 35 days old. It's all it is pumped with steroids and other things to make it grow.
What the Health is a documentary on Netflix,
Right.
which a lot of doctors are proving to be fucking crazy
Right.
because they compare eating chicken to smoking cigarettes and milk to smoking cigarettes.
Gotcha.
And they're saying that they called the Cancer Society and they got the secretary and they said, why does it say that eating meat is bad? And the secretary's like, can I connect you? And the guy's like, they refuse to answer my questions. We know meat is not great for you, milk is not great for you, but it took it so far in that documentary, and a lot of doctors have come out and are like, this is nuts.
Meat is causing cancer. I mean, we know that.
Yes.
I mean,
but for me, what I thought was funny about reading this,
right.
we do assume that NFL athletes that get paid a lot of money have nutritionists and dietitians and team-regulated doctors, but it's really just them at home with their girlfriend going, man, I think I might give up meat this
because
season.
we only hear about Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. People don't realize the rest of the NFL is like your normal Joes. They're just, I know $395,000 is a good amount of money, but most of the league is making somewhere between $395,000 and $900,000, and that's good money. I'm not trying to sound like a spoiled brat, but it's also not like rich enough to have your own cook and nutritionist and your own trainer and all that. No, that's not enough for that at the end of the day. This is not NBA money. This is not quarterback money. This is not big-time receiver money. Those guys can afford it.
It's just so funny to me, the amount of people that are going vegan right now.
Yeah, it's
really
the smart way to go in all phases, all ways.
We got a little heated at each other, so I want to loosen it up with another Bortles Facts. Compliments of Twitter account at Bortles Facts. Fendrick was right. It's my new favorite Twitter account. Blake Bortles has thrown 80 touchdown passes to a combined 9 NFL teams.
Woo.
Pick sixes. Let's bring back an oldie but a goodie. It's Sims's Raw Reaction. And what are we showing Sims today? It's pictures of Texas's new locker room.
I feel bad that Josh is over in the corner right now. It is my fault.
I want you to take a look at these pictures, Sims.
Ooh, baby.
It's Texas's new locker room. Do you see that locker?
Let me see.
That it costs over $10,000 each, and there is a 43-inch monitor above each locker that shows the picture of the player and shows highlight reels of them.
Damn.
Yes.
We have stepped it up. Holy crap.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I did not see all this.
Do you? What does that make you feel?
What?
And I also went, so Tom Herman comes in and he gets the new locker room?
Of course.
Charlie Strong got fucked.
He did. No doubt about it. I think so when I was going there in 1999, right, I was going on my visits, their facility was top-notch. It was considered like the best in college football.
Yeah.
And then, of course, in the mid-2000s, everybody started to up their game up. And Texas really was the trendsetter. I mean, they really were. I mean, our facility was phenomenal, even for NFL standards. But then you saw the things like Texas A&M and Oregon and what all they did. I mean, they made it into like spas, like at the Four Seasons Hotel.
Exactly.
And
with like running water.
So this is the richest school in the country. People, I don't think, realize that. And it's by far the richest football program in the country. Makes a lot more money than Alabama every year. I don't know what it was, the difference this year, but I know last year it was like $33-something million. So good. That's cool. We need all the advantages we can get.
Do you feel jealous, though?
No, I don't feel jealous.
Good for you.
I don't. No, I'm like totally want Texas, Tom Herman and company to turn this around. I mean, just like I was rooting for Charlie, it's no different. It's a shame right now that the University of Texas is not even in a discussion for like best football team. I mean, they're not even close in the discussion. And also, I like the Big 12, and the Big 12 sucks right now. I mean, it sucks.
So I know that most Saturdays for you, you're spent watching Texas.
Right.
But this season, Chris Sims will be on your NBC dial as he is going to be doing pre, post, and halftime for Notre Dame football.
Yes, I am.
Get fucking ready, Irish fans. You're going to have a young Sims looking you right in the face. And we have some Twitter questions from our own Steven Nelson for you.
Oh,
I'd
good.
like to integrate Josh Fendrick back into the show, and he has some. He's going to read them for Steven Nelson.
Thanks, Adam. It's nice that someone appreciates my presence on this podcast.
Lefkoe made the final call and was like, yeah, finally, get it out of here.
So it was your fault.
Yeah, fuck you.
All right, question from Steven Nelson at Steven_Nelson. Don't screw that up. For Sims, who is the greatest football player in Notre Dame history?
Start there. Greatest football player in Notre Dame history. We need the people to know that you know your shit.
Gosh. I'm going to say the greatest of all, probably Paul Hornung. Is that a good one for you?
Can't be wrong with the Galloping Ghosts.
And then who else am I missing?
He was the golden boy, excuse me. Rocky Bismail, I don't know.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think. Rocket
Joe
Ismail certainly in the
Montana?
cut. Joe didn't have a great career there. I'm just trying to think of a few other guys. I think Paul Hornung is the one. I think I'm right.
I think you're up there. And then what's the other part of the question?
Is Rudy overrated in the pantheon of best sports movies?
Not in my opinion.
You're a big Rudy fan.
I do like Rudy. I think it's a good movie. It's one of the better football movies altogether.
I cry every time the jerseys go down, and it's not because of the scene.
Right.
That fucking music makes me cry.
I hear ya.
Like music gets me emotional,
Yeah.
and that song really gets me emotional.
Yes. So you know the original Rudy, the real Rudy
Yeah.
Rudiger. He had a speaking engagement in Tampa, Florida at one point where I ended up having to MC the event and like introduce him to everybody because he was writing a book.
You had to introduce Rudy.
Rudy, yep, I did.
You know he's in jail now, or he did jail time.
Is that right?
Wait, so I want to hear how he introduced him.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I just went on about a guy, that was driven and, all that kind of stuff, all that cheesy crap.
You definitely started a Rudy chant.
I don't think I did.
What?
I don't know if I
Couldn't
did,
you see
actually.
Sims be like, I just want everyone to get.
You know what's funny
Rudy."
about that
Oh,
game,
be
though?
careful.
When you ever see that game at the end of the movie, look closely into the stands because they filmed it during a real game. And they were playing Boston College. And if you look into the stands, you'll see people trying to ruin the movie and holding up Boston College signs. And they're supposed to be
Really?
playing Georgia Tech. I always think that's funny.
Vince Vaughn, phenomenal wide receiver. in that movie.
Hey, white boy supreme!
I have this article from 2011. Football underdog Rudy sacked for stock fraud. And it
Why are you
says-
bringing up old shit?
Well, 'cause it's true.
So he got what fraud?
Stock fraud. He couldn't do an end run around the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. That's good writing. Really good writing.
Jeez.
All right, I'm out. Lefkoe.
You're done?
Are you serious?
Sims.
Will you have another
See,
fucking
I'm so
meeting?
glad we didn't give
Do
you
you
a
have another
mic.
meeting?
I do.
Fuck yourself. Get out of here.
Can you just put the podcast on your schedule?
Well, when Mr. Haircut over here, I mean, it was scheduled to start at 3 o'clock, and then
But he was only gonna do 15 minutes and then leave.
Don't
anyway.
even get me started why I was late.
I was going to do a half hour.
Don't get me started.
I kind of want to.
Gosh. Well, Donald Trump's in town, so I couldn't get over here. Every street's fucking blocked because of the guy. Holy cow, don't get me started. Okay, that's it.
You know what? While you're here,
You can't even hail a taxi cab because you can't get out onto the street for this guy. He's taking another day off.
speaking of which, I know that his actions scared your in-laws this past week.
My in-laws are
Careful.
buttes.
Just
They're,
be careful.
They're buttes. Okay.
Stay here for this.
Just stay
then.
here to listen in case you got to cut it
In
out
case
or
you have to
something.
edit it.
No, Mike. All right. So yes, my in-laws are Trumpers, full through and through, and I love them.
Trumpies.
They're Trumpies.
Yeah, I think Trumpies is funnier.
And their biggest thing was they voted for Trump because he was going to keep us safe. I mean, that was their number one thing. I just think he's going to keep us safe.
I can't imagine you
they are
holding
so,
your tongue at dinner.
Oh, it's so hard. I don't really hold it all the way, but I don't go full-fledged in. But yes, I mean, my in-laws are the type of people that the Middle East is coming over here to take the country over.
So this past week,
So this past week, the North Korea bomb
Trump
threat.
saying he's going to bring flames and fury.
My little boy's birthday is on Sunday, August 13th. My in-laws are supposed to come in on Wednesday, and they call on Wednesday morning. They go, "We're coming in on Friday."
Whoa.
And my wife's like, "Why? What do you mean?" They're like, "This North Korea thing's scaring us. We're going to get our house on the market now because people don't buy houses when there's bombs flying in the air." And I want to be like, "No shit. Thanks, Rabbit and Gloria from Brooklyn, New York."
I love that their thought is not there's an impending danger.
No,
we could all
no,
die.
They need to get it out on the market before this nuke goes out.
because the last thing you want is a post-apocalyptic world where you have no money in a house.
And you got two houses because they got to sell this one because they've already committed to another one. So they were panicked. So I just thought it
A
was
bomb's
funny.
coming. Sell the house.
Right.
It's incredible.
So that was the story, but I just
They
just
still made it in time for Phillips' birthday.
yeah, they came on Friday. They were good, right? They were
Did
good.
they sell the house?
No, but it's on the market now officially, right?
Do they have
so.
a bunker? They sound like the type of people that would have a bunker.
Oh, my grandfather, I mean, my
Should we podcast
father-in-law
from the bunker?
is a beaut. He is a true Brooklyn wise guy, and he has enough. He might have as many guns as the country of China. I mean, so don't break into his house, okay? Like, no joke. I've only shot guns in my life with him at a target range, and he has like, AK-47s.
Holy fuck.
he's ridiculous. He's off his rocker.
Will you admit something
Yes.
that I had to admit?
Yes.
That when you shoot guns, you understand why people love it so much?
I do understand that, yes.
It's a fucking rush.
It is. It's just a crazy expensive hobby, and I don't understand the obsession with having to get more and more of them.
When I was in Nebraska,
Right.
every time a new season would start, I would be a reporter, and I would have to go off and talk about shotgun season. And then I would go out, and they'd let me shoot the shotguns.
Right.
And then one time it was long-range rifle season, and these rifles were the size of this table. I mean, they're 5 feet long.
Yeah.
And I'm shooting 400 feet away, and the guy looks at me and goes, "You want to take a rip?" And I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I want to take a rip." He goes, "No, I'm warning you. The kickback is going to be insane." But, dude, as soon as I pulled that trigger
Yeah.
and that thing exploded, I looked at the guy and went, "I understand why you do this because I've never felt that feeling before." I get it.
It's
I
like
get
it's
it.
$1. So that's what we have to buy him for Christmas. We have to buy him Walmart gift cards. Like if we buy him something nice, he will literally be like, he talks like this, and he will buy him like a nice shirt, right? And he'll be like, "Well, why'd you give me this? Why'd you give me this? I don't want this. I don't wear this shit. I don't wear this crap."
He just wants ammunition.
That's all he wants.
Is your wife going to be upset with this segment?
No, I told her on
this was
Friday
coming
that I was going full-fledged on her parents. There's no way they're going to listen, so don't worry.
I think it was.
Say it.
I'll see. I think it was Chris Rock that said the way that you fix gun violence is making bullets $5,000 a piece.
Yeah, right.
Shoot people,
Yeah,
run up,
right.
take it back.
I think it was Dave Chappelle, actually. But
was-
maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. I don't know. I feel like I remember watching it.
Speaking of which, I'm going to see Chappelle on Saturday.
Man.
Radio City Music Hall.
Brilliance.
Cost me a pretty freaking penny. but
Still one of my favorite shows of all
I've
time.
never seen him live.
Never seen him live. I don't
never
think I've ever
seen
seen him
Chappelle
live
live.
either. I never have.
I kind of want to bring Oreos there.
You should.
Do you think they'll let me in?
Yes.
All right, we'll see. So I went through, because I'm going to be a degenerate gambler this year at the behest of Bleacher Report, and I'm going to try and do it for the podcast. And I began looking at over and unders in the last 6 years. I went on Football Locks because they have all of the...
That's our spot.
Yes, and I made a spreadsheet, and it's color-coded and all that stuff. And I found some trends that make me feel confident about betting, and I want to share that with you guys as the over-unders are out. They will change, but these are just what I've seen. In the last 6 years, Sims, 2 teams went 5-0-1 versus the over-under, which means 5 times they went over, 1 time they pushed. They never went lower than Vegas's expectations.
All right, wait, hold on. You got to explain it to me again. Say that
Okay.
again, slower.
So
Sorry.
if I say that a team is expected to go over under, like the Eagles are supposed to go over under.
Oh, we're talking
8
season. Okay, gotcha.
for the
Sorry.
whole season.
Gotcha. Sorry.
They're supposed to be over under 8.
Right.
If they were to win 9 or more, I consider that a win
Yes.
because they exceeded Vegas's expectation.
Right.
Which 2 teams went 5-0-1 the last 6 years?
Which 2 teams went 5-0-1 the last? All right, so New England's won.
New England is one of them.
Okay, 5-0.
Which is crazy to me that New England exceeded Vegas's expectation for 6 years.
I mean,
Because you would think they were been predicted to do 11 or 12, and they did it every year.
This is amazing. Only other team that I think I can put in that is the Seattle Seahawks.
The Denver Broncos.
Ooh.
Last year they pushed, according to Vegas.
Okay.
But the 5 years before that, all
Exceeded.
over. Yeah.
Yes.
So they have been the most consistent teams. The other teams that have been really good against the spread.
Yeah.
The Texans are 5-1 in the last 6 years. So they've exceeded 5 of the last 6 years. And the last 3 years, they've won 9 games.
Yeah.
They've been very consistent.
Right.
Kansas City has hit over 4 years in a row. And Cincinnati had hit 5 in a row before last year.
Right.
That's kind of why I like Cincinnati.
Yeah.
They're consistently good.
So
Now-
Cincinnati, Kansas City. Well, some of those other teams.
Those are the teams that have been consistent
Yes,
the last
right.
6 years.
And then-
Cincinnati, Kansas City, Texans,
Right.
Denver, and New England.
It's funny.
Why?
All those teams were, other than New England, were marked probably a game or 2 lower because they thought, ooh, their quarterback isn't that great.
And they
And then they exceed
yeah.
and they do good enough.
It's like I look at the Texans this year, and they're expected to win like 8 games or something like that. And I'm like, shit, like they're going to get better quarterback play than they did last year.
Ooh.
Like,
That's going to be interesting to see where that goes.
yeah. Now, one team went 0-6
Yep.
the last 6 years. What team was that? One team hit the under the last 6 years, did worse than Vegas thought. Not just Vegas thought. The reason I did this was sometimes Vegas makes teams look good, and then people bet them, and they take advantage of like big fan bases and stuff.
So they're 0-6.
They went under the last 6 years.
I have a feeling this team's a kind of a good team, right?
I don't know.
You don't
They're
know?
not.
They're not. Because I honestly at first was going to think Green Bay Packers.
The Green Bay Packers went under 4 of the last 5.
I would think so.
Because every year, that was the reason I did this, is which fan bases get overhyped. And I think the Packers are one of those teams. Like, I know you would take the under on the Packers this year at 10.5.
Definitely.
You think they're a 10-win ball club.
Man, have the expectations of Seattle been too high? That's what I think of. Hold on. I just want to see if one more.
0 for 6. They've been under the last 6 years.
Pittsburgh?
The Jacksonville Jaguars. I read an article from a wise guy in Vegas that said, he said all of the sharp money, which is like supposedly the really smart bettors, every year goes on the Jaguars.
Right.
And every year it doesn't work. He goes, it's reached a point where it's such a fucking laughing stock that you're only smart if you bet on the Jaguars, but it's also the dumbest fucking thing that people do every year.
Yeah.
And they're having a big over-under. The other worst ones, the Bears went under 5 of the last 6, and that was an example of like a bigger market team.
Right.
And the Saints, for the last 5 years, this is just a trend I saw. For the last 5 years, the Saints finished with 7 wins.
Yes.
And yet, we talked about this, Sean Payton never, and they were all unders.
Yes. I love Sean Payton, too.
The other thing that I looked up were big jump in line trends.
Okay.
And this one I found to be very interesting. When let's say for example, the Titans are predicted to win 3 more games than they were predicted to do last year.
Yeah.
That's what I call a big jump.
Huge.
When teams were predicted to do 3 wins or more, 5 of the 6 times that happened, they went over, which is a huge number.
Wow.
5 of the last 6 times
They meet the expectations and
they
go above
exceed
them.
it.
Right.
The other one was if a team was predicted to lose, was predicted to be 2.5 games or worse, 5 of the 6 times that happened, they also went over.
Wow. So they went over.
So 10 of the last 12 times a team was expected to have a major swing in either direction,
Right.
they won more games than Vegas thought they would.
Huh.
Because I don't know. I don't get it. The one time that there was an under was Tom Sula's 49ers team for the under. It went below expectations because no one knew how bad Tom Sula was going to be.
Exactly right.
So there are 3 teams this year that fall into this.
Right.
That by my accord, if these statistics, I'll follow it, I'll probably bet it too, should go over. The Cardinals are predicted to lose 2.5 games more than they were predicted last year, and they could definitely be a bounce-back team.
They can be.
The Jets are predicted to lose 3 games more than they were last year, and I think they're better than the 4.5 game mark or the 3.5 game mark.
I think so too.
With their defense.
Yep.
And the other one was the Titans. The Titans are predicted to win 3 more games. It's Mariota's 3rd year. That was the other thing that I noticed with the quarterbacks is that all the teams that were expected to make a jump and did, Derek Carr in his 2nd season,
Right.
Andrew Luck in his 2nd season, Russell Wilson in his 2nd season, and now Mariota here.
Yes.
So those are the 3 teams, Cardinals, Jets, Titans, that by my random Saturday night watching preseason football and doing 4 hours of Excel spreadsheets.
2 of those 3 are going to be better than what they're saying.
Or maybe even
Maybe
3.
3. Right.
Bet all 3. You
Yeah.
get 2 or 3, who cares?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It really is interesting. It's funny to see how Vegas formulates or just little trends and opinions.
I previewed, this is going to be a long podcast, I'm sorry. Hardcore fans, We Are Fanatics did a survey where they asked, what would fans do to get a Super Bowl win?
Yeah.
Eat cockroaches for a Super Bowl.
Cockroach.
The number 1 fan base that said they would do it, the Carolina Panthers. Gain 100 pounds for a ring, get a voluntary root canal, and not bathe for a year, all won by one franchise. Who do you think it was? The Minnesota Vikings.
I was going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Sit on a hornet's nest and give up a paycheck, both won by the Jacksonville Jaguars. All of these came down. The Vikings were seen as the most hardcore, desperate fans.
Right.
Jaguars were 2. Browns were 3.
Yep.
Rams were 4. Dolphins were 5.
Man, Rams were 4. I can understand all of those. The Rams just being the St. Louis to L.A. move is a little weird. But,
Yeah.
man, the Vikings, yes. I mean, 4
Desperate.
Super Bowl losses.
The only one the Eagles came in, they came in number 3 in root canals. Apparently, everything else they were not down for.
So what is it? Did they have like a New England, like what they're desperate for or anything? Like what?
They were not asked.
We won't eat. What would they do? You got to like make.
We're going to give up chowder for a week.
Right.
All right, let's get to iTunes reviews. I'm going to try and go quick. Again, this is how it works. Leave us a 5-star review, and I promise I will read your comment. And it's hit us up on iTunes. The reviews have been awesome. Fendrick gets way too excited because now we're getting emailed to our email. This one is from Adam Lefkoe, and I like butts. And the comment is, Lefkoe likes butts.
Yeah.
Awesome.
He does. I know he does.
This one is from Sam and Sage Lively.
Chris likes butts too.
The perfect non-hot take sports show. You gentlemen are doing the Lord's work. Keep being incredible.
Thank you.
Sam had to log on to Sage's account to do this, and then we shout out to both of them. JCab17, informative and entertaining. Love the podcast. The banter between you two is awesome. You guys should do a drunk history episode where you guys recant an epic game while drunk. I bet Sims drunk would be hilarious.
We should. I wish we could do that kind of stuff.
The old Golden Gates episode that no one will hear.
I know. We've tried, but we weren't real sharp. I don't
Drunk
think
would be
Bleacher Report,
awesome.
Drunk would be fun. Maybe
I would
we
love
could
to
do that.
I would love to do one where we just like do it right after we watch a game. Sims and Lefkoe over everyone. This is from You Bastard. The podcast is kick-ass. Chris and Adam are legitimately honest and unique. This podcast is necessity. Oh, and Fendrick is pretty good too.
Yeah, he's okay.
This is from Snickers4. Sad I didn't find this pod sooner. Sims and Lefkoe are insanely entertaining. Love the player point of view. Eat beans, not meat.
Yeah.
Coffee77, best pod period. Sims tells it whether it's overrated draft prospects or political views. Lefkoe's conspiracy theories are out there but entertaining. His reaction to the Eagles draft pick was priceless. Love when Josh is there. He's a nice punching bag. That's what he was today.
He is.
Question, what would be the ideal Survivor cast made of NFL players and who would win?
Oof. Ideal Survivor cast.
So the only thing I'll ask is to simplify it for you would be, who is a manipulative player? Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning would be great.
It's going to be a lot of quarterbacks, actually. I think they're the best
Ryan
manipulators.
Fitzpatrick is like very loved and doesn't do anything.
Right. And coaches. Coaches are master manipulators as well. They're the best manipulators there are.
Belichick would be the greatest Survivor player ever.
Yeah, he could be.
But he could get voted out right away.
I think he could get voted out right away, actually.
He would be too intimidating.
He would be.
BD Noise changed my podcast game. Guys, the show has become next level and has changed the way I approach my own podcasting. That's cool.
Thanks, buddy.
Sims, how hard is it for an NFL player to change their perception that's been created for them? For example, Tannehill can't throw the deep ball or Tony Romo isn't clutch.
Gosh. How easy is it to change that perception?
Sanchez butt fumble.
Yes. It takes years and years of
got to win the Super Bowl.
Really good play on a national scene. That's what it takes. I mean, what we saw. I mean, Tony Romo, that was totally wrong, right? He was the clutchest quarterback in football from 2006 on. But the team wasn't good enough.
And
they weren't getting in the
snap.
playoffs. And yes, exactly right. That's the one clutch moment people put with him, and he fumbled the field goal snap. So it sometimes can't be erased. Like, he had a chance to erase it, Romo, if the Dez Bryant catch happened, right? And then the next week, if they could have beat the Seattle Seahawks and go to the Super Bowl, it would have been erased forever, that 3-week span. But it's very hard to change that narrative once it's in your mind. And let me just say, the coaches are the same way. That's the problem, too. A lot of the time, the coaches, they've heard something about a player 5 years ago, and they think it's still true. And I want to be like, hey, dumbass coach, turn on the fucking film and figure it out yourself. He's not the same guy he was 4 years ago.
Yeah. This one's from Shake and Bake. I'm going to go quicker, guys. So if I don't get to all your questions, I'm sorry. His comment is, addicted. It's pointless to listen to any other football pod. Sims, what are some of the loudest stadiums you've played in during your times at Texas and the NFL? Hope the Superdome is up there. Go Saints.
The Superdome is loud as hell. Any dome is loud, okay? I mean, Minnesota, I'm pretty sure they used to pump noise into their stadium. So the domes are incredibly loud. Right off the top of my head, college football-wise, Texas A&M was probably the loudest place I had to play in college. I mean, Texas A&M is loud. Actually, Nebraska can be really loud, too. You've been to that stadium. Yep. It's 80,000 people, but when you look at the stadium with nobody in it, you'd be like, how many are in here, 30? I mean, it's a small setting, right? So I did think that gets really loud. Seattle is phenomenally loud when you're there. I mean, to the point where, I mean, guys really not sure if they hear whistles and things at times.
Wow.
So that to me is
the Falcons pumping crowd noise.
Yeah, and right, that was loud too. I mean, especially back in the old days when I had to play and Michael Vick was there. They had the DJ in the stands, and they would get the fans going with cool music.
Yeah.
That was really loud.
Rams pumped in crowd noise too.
Yeah.
Fucking cheaters. RF3867, outstanding podcast. I love this question. Sims, in your playing career, did you ever have reason to suspect that a referee had some type of personal vendetta against you, a teammate, or one of your coaches? Ryan in Louisiana.
I can't say that it was personal. I think I've told this story before, maybe on one of the earliest podcasts. A referee named Tony Correnti, right? Tony Correnti. First of all, I'll say this. There was definitely certain referees that would be annoyed with Gruden because Gruden would not lay off the referees. And I don't think a lot of them really loved Gruden because he really was.
He would show him up.
He was quite fresh at times. I can't even lie. And sometimes with no good reason behind it. Like he'd be wrong. But I had a game, San Francisco. I'm playing out in the 49ers, 2005. And we had like two pass plays in a row. One where it was like they were blatantly offsides and they didn't call it. And then I got hit late as I was throwing the ball. And I said something to Tony Correnti. You're like running off the field, like, "Hey, you're fucking blind. You missed that." He hit me like 10 seconds late. I threw the ball, was like walking back to the sidelines, and got like knocked out.
Yeah.
And he didn't say anything, but I did say like, "You're fucking wrong." Like, "Oh, throw the fucking flag," something like that.
Yeah.
So then the next time we come out in the field, and usually the referee goes, "Hey, start calling your play. We're coming out from commercial break." Like he lets you know, right? And all of a sudden, we're sitting there, and I'm like just waiting for him to do that. And Gruden's talking in my ear, and I'm bull crapping, and the whistle blows. And I'm like, "Oh, what are they blowing the whistle for?" And I look around, and then I go, "Holy shit, the clock's going. Oh, hey, guys, get it." And I look at him, and warning? He goes, "Not until you apologize."
Stop.
That's what he said to me. Right. So
Did you apologize? You're like, sorry.
After the series, I apologized. I was like, "Hey, listen, sorry. I mean, I was mad." And he goes,
Man.
"Okay, you'll get your warning next time."
Whoa.
Yeah, it pissed me off.
That is crazy.
I still
we don't think that's a thing. Fans don't think that's a thing.
Yeah. And then there was other referees
Is
like.
he still reffing?
Yes, he is. So I still not. He's not my favorite ref. I'll say that.
When you see him on TV, you like.
I do. I go, "You motherfucker!" But he is a good ref. I will give him that. He really is a good ref. The other one I used to love, just in a loving way, is our man Ed Hochuli. I mean, I've told you I've worked out with Ed Hochuli. We did a chest workout together one year when he was doing our practice at Tennessee Titans.
How diesel? What was he putting?
Oh, more than me. I know that. I mean, but it was literally like 45 sets of chest.
That's all he did.
That's all he did. The whole day. I was like,
got a good
"Damn,
chest.
can we get a squat or just a curl or anything?"
Nobody's like you ain't doing signals with your legs. Hochuli's trying to get that
Exactly
first
right.
down and that bulge.
But he would be awesome in the games because you'd make a play or a throw or you'd get out of trouble.
Yeah.
And after the play, he'd look at you and be like, "Man, how did you get out of that one?"
That's
and
awesome.
You'd be like, it'd make you feel good. You're
I
like,
love
"Okay."
watching preseason refs interacting with the players because
Yeah.
they're much more loose.
No
and
doubt
they're
about it.
really fucking talking to
Right,
each other.
right.
Best football podcast, or best podcast, hands down, Steeler Fanatic 43. I've been listening since episode 1.
Yeah, what up,
They're not even
Steeler fan
available
43?
anymore. First question, what's with Fendrick saying goodnight, everybody, when the podcast comes out in the morning?
Oh, he's like Johnny Professional. That's why. He doesn't know what else to say. He saw some guy in like a 1958 news clip say that, so now he says
He
it.
told me it's because we used to record these at night.
We did.
And then because he is such like a wiener, he's like, "I'd like to do that consistently
Look at
through
her do
all
that.
the
That's funny.
episodes."
Good night, everybody.
Other question is, will Lorenzo Neal ever get in the Hall of Fame? He blocked for 8 1,000-yard rushers.
Oh, yes, he deserves it. Low Neal. Man, I still talk to Low Neal from time to time. He does a radio
him
show.
and Trent Richardson were unbelievable blockers.
You're not thinking about
I'm
not
not.
Trent Richardson. You're thinking of the other Richardson who was also on the Jets too.
Yeah, what's his name?
Gosh, I'm blanking on his name.
I have him in my phone.
We'll come to it here in a second. He was phenomenal. But yes, Low Neal, fullback position in general, it's going to be one of those spots that never gets the credit it deserves. Like Mike Allstott would be another guy. You look at it, the fullback, but now people evaluate him as a running back, right? Because he had running stats too.
Right.
But it is going to be one of those positions that will be consistently overlooked forever and ever. And he certainly is an NFL legend. He's the best fullback I saw in my day.
Tony Richardson.
Tony Richardson, there he was. He was good, man.
Yeah.
T. Rich.
All right, Sims is the GOAT. Tresh 15. Love the podcast. When I saw Sims in the title, I knew I wanted to listen. Coming from Michigan, I only hear bad things from national sports, quote-unquote, experts about the Lions, but Chris always hits me with that one good thing about Stafford that makes my week.
Good.
Sims, could you still go 3 for 3 in buckets like you did in the Pick Me videos for a while back?
I didn't go 3 for 3 in those buckets. Those were video enhanced. And oddly enough, as good as I was at doing that, I did not hit one during the filming. Everything else I hit. Everything else is real.
Me and Fendrick are talking. I think we're going to bring you to Central Park and see if you could actually do it.
Do the buckets?
Yeah, let's just try it.
I know. It's crazy. Now, if you stood in front of the bucket like you were a receiver.
And then just moved out of the way?
And then I would probably knock it in every time. But there's something about throwing to something that's like 3 feet high there. It messed with my brain the whole time. I felt so unqualified when I was doing that commercial.
Best sports podcast around Yuletide Gopher. Simeon was a 7th-round pick. Now that we've seen him play, what round would you take him in now?
Oh, Simeon, I think, he's a legitimate 2nd or 3rd round type of quarterback.
And what round would you take Paxton in?
Oh, probably actually the 2nd or 3rd as well now.
Who would you take first?
Right now, you give me a choice of who I want to be my quarterback. I'm taking Trevor Siemian. Yeah, Trevor Siemian sounds like he's going to win that position. And just from what I watched in the Bears game preseason week 1, he's just the better player right now, period. Simeon's throwing ability is a little underrated, and Simeon's athletic ability is a little underrated.
Man, these podcasts are so long. I don't fucking care. I hope you guys like it. I'm enjoying it. I am Matthew Joe, RIP lefty quarterbacks. I've been listening since the beginning of the season. I actually had to hit pause and rewrite a new review because of how astounded I was by Lefkoe and his owner team comparisons. Fuck yeah, I thought that was good too.
It was.
Guys, what makes a good GM? And how are those GMs found by owners?
Yes. The best GMs are not found by the owners. The best GMs are the owner interviewing these guys and also taking into account what the head coach wants, right? Those are, to me, always the relationships that work best. And
it's unbelievable to me that we celebrate John Schneider and Pete Carroll because both of them are, quote, capable of telling each other when they're wrong.
Exactly right.
What the fuck is going on in 30 other franchises? I'm not putting the Patriots in that's unique.
Yeah, it's crazy. No, it's in most NFL franchises, the front office and the coaching staff it's like a civil war almost to a degree.
Well, we're seeing that on Ballers.
Yeah.
Legitimately. I fucking hate that show. But Lynch and Shanahan, they seem like they're off to a good start.
They got it off to a good start. And what makes a GM is what they want to know. What makes a GM is understanding the vision of the coach and what they want to do for the future as far as teams are concerned. And then, of course, the GM's ability to evaluate people and their talent level, players, their specific talent level, but also what else, and we and I have had this conversation a lot, the great GMs really know football a little bit, like X's and O's why. The GMs who are just going, he's big, fast, and strong, he looks good to me, that's it, I'm going to take him on my team. No, the GM that goes, ooh, he's messed up in that coverage a bunch of times, and he's good in that coverage, and blah, 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 he understands it.
And they're probably good at evaluating personalities.
I would think so. Yeah, most cases, the guys I know, yes.
J Sizzle 11, the best for year-round football podcast there is. Sims, where are you most recognized? Texas, Tampa, Tennessee, New York, or Jersey?
I guess I still think New Jersey, New York area.
And where would you want to spend a week and a weekend?
Oh man, gosh, I mean. Week and a weekend. That's a good one. I haven't been to like Amsterdam yet, so I would like to do that, like a Europe trip. I haven't done Paris or France. I haven't done any of those.
Doing the podcast from Amsterdam.
Right. I mean, I would like to do any of that, but I do love the Caribbean.
I want to give a shout out to Clay Tonis. I want to give a shout out to JRev924.
What up, homies?
Andy 1080. Love the show. Please name a team other than the Patriots which would be competitive without their franchise quarterback.
Okay. Another team that would be competitive without their franchise quarterback. Because, of course, and we got to find a team that's got a good backup
You
within
look at that. Let
Yep.
me read another comment. Bob Hinkelhein, hilarious, informative. Lefkoe's awkward interview with Warren Sapp was the highlight of my 2016. That is awesome because that was great. We have one more. Are you ready for your team?
I think Kansas City would be one team I look at right now.
They've been doing it for years.
Yeah, right. They can do it without their franchise quarterback.
Texans.
The Texans certainly can as well. No, I mean, I was going to throw the Giants in that conversation, but I don't trust any of their backups to say that. So that's not true.
And this one is from Liam Swag Rex Ryan. First off, love the pod since day one. It was the first podcast I ever tried, and it's been great to watch you guys become actual big swinging ricks in the sports media world. You three are a perfect example of why Bleacher Report has turned the traditional model and slapped it upside the head. Sounds like I'm talking to my buds about football when I listen to the pod. Sims has taken his knowledge and position from an NFL locker room and used to give us the rest of us intriguing insight. Lefkoe does a great job of drawing out this nuggets and has transformed from a fanboy niche to now someone whose input is as valuable as Chris's. Not as valuable. Funny story.
Very valuable.
I have seen Lefkoe walking in Manhattan on my way to work while listening to the podcast. And one time I made a crazy face at you and pointed to you and then pointed at my ears. I think it freaked you out a little bit. You looked pretty hungover, so I didn't want to bother you to chat, but we should get some cold ones soon. I don't remember that.
Right.
But here's the scary thing. I probably wasn't hungover. That's just what I look like when I'm not wearing makeup. Makeup makes me look good. And then my makeup comes off and it's like, man, you look fucking exhausted. I used to have doormen that would be like, oh, rough night last night? And I was like, no, I just not wearing makeup.
Well, you're the type of guy that I don't want to. You don't look like a hobo when you don't have makeup on. But yeah, you do. You can get dark circles under your eyes a little if you don't
Eastern
get a full
European
sleep. Right.
And then the other question he had is, or the only question he had is there a head coach that would consider Rex Ryan for a D coordinator or D-line coaching job?
I think right away. I mean,
Would he be able to fall in line?
I do think Belichick could make a guy like him fall in line. Certainly, yes. Other than that, I think it's going to be a really tough list to find guys that are going to be able to make an ego like Rex Ryan kind of know his place.
Yeah.
A Bruce Arians, I think, could handle a Rex Ryan. I think a Sean Payton could, even though he probably won't because he dealt with Rob, and that didn't seem to go so well.
Would they need to be an offensive guy? Like you're naming offensive guys.
I know, yeah, I do. I
so
think
like
in a lot
Mike
of cases,
Tomlin wouldn't get.
I don't think so. No, I don't imagine that. I think those are too strong of personalities who are similar in a lot of ways and they're going to be different schematically, and I think that would butt heads.
That's it. Coming up right now, the Jadeveon Clowney interview. It gets really fucking weird and really funny, and I think he gives a lot of good stuff. And as you guys can tell, I think he gets along with us because we are happy to shower the praise on him.
Yes.
As always, hit us up on Twitter. Use the hashtag FakeQB. Tell us who the fake QBs are. ACL epidemic and full-fledged. And as you guys are watching preseason games, send us whatever you're seeing to the podcast.
Yeah,
we'll talk
whatever
about
you want to talk about.
And then hit us up on iTunes, leave a 5-star review. We're happy to get to it. I'll say for Fendrick, good night, everybody. For Sims,
peace out, homies.
I am Lefkoe. This is episode 127. We'll be back Monday, Facebook Live. Join us.